Hey everyone, and welcome to Meals with Melissa, where I come up with healthier options of things that you like to eat. Now, I'm all about dessert, and right now I can't really have any because I'm not eating sugar. So we're gonna come up with a really great recipe. Now, one of the things that I loved as a kid, my mother used to make lemon bars, and I just loved them. So today we're gonna make an almond flour lemon bread, and let me tell you, it actually tastes phenomenal. Now, really quickly, because it's almond flour, just realize it's gonna be a little different texture than you're used to. One of the things that I found is that as you really work to get healthy, you're gonna be okay with some different textures because you're gonna think, wow, I can actually have this, right? So when it comes to bread, like we don't really eat bread, but we will eat Ezekiel bread. And yes, it's a little different and it tastes a little different, but when you don't have bread, Ezekiel bread tastes phenomenal, right? Okay, so super simple. I'm already preheating the oven to 325 and I've got my pan ready to go. Now, honestly, I would probably use a little bit smaller bread pan for this because otherwise it's gonna be, I'll show you, it's gonna be a little flatter, so I'd probably go with a little bit smaller pan. But this worked out just fine. It's still cooked right and it still tastes really good. So I've got some parchment paper in there. I am gonna spray the sides because you don't want it to stick. You don't want it to break in half, okay? So I'm gonna spray that and it's good to go, and that's gonna wait on the side there. All right, super simple. We're just gonna throw a bunch of ingredients in a bowl, mix it up, and bake it. All right, so we're gonna start with 2 cups of almond flour. Now, I know some of you are saying, well, can I use coconut flour? Maybe, but you're gonna have to add some liquid because almond flour, or coconut flour runs much drier than almond flour, and it's not gonna be a swap over. It's not gonna be a 1-to-1 swap over, so keep that in mind. So 2 cups of almond flour. To that, I'm gonna add 1/3 cup of a granulated sweetener. Now, of course, we're gonna use a sugar substitute. I prefer to use something like this, a monk fruit. Just keep in mind, it does contain erythritol. I would limit that, right? Because at least for me, if I don't, it gives me some gut aches. So it really messes with my microbiome. So I probably would limit that a little bit. All right, so I'm going to add that. To that, I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Now that's your leavener. So unless you want completely flat bread that has no air in it whatsoever, you definitely wanna make sure that you add some baking powder. So we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of baking powder. I got a ½ teaspoon measurement. Sometimes my measuring tools disappear around here. Who knows? They find their way into other places. It's all good. All right, so we're gonna throw that in there. To that, I'm going to add a ½ teaspoon of salt. Definitely wanna make sure you get a little bit of that contrast. So I'm gonna add that. Notice that so far I've added all the dry ingredients. Don't worry, we are gonna add some wet ingredients coming up like right now. All right, so normally you want something, instead of oil, we are going to actually use coconut cream. Now you could use some plain yogurt. I would recommend you use full fat yogurt if you can find it. That is really hard for us to find around here. But I did buy some coconut cream. Now, I've actually dumped it out of the can and mixed it because otherwise what's going to happen is you're going to get a thick layer and then you're going to let liquid down below, and you actually want that mixed up. So I mixed it. I know that doesn't make any sense. I did mix it earlier, we'll say that, and put it in here. You want about 2/3 cup of either the yogurt or the coconut cream. So I'm going to add this coconut cream. I love coconut, so that works great for me. Yeah, I love the flavor. And one of the things I discovered, you know, I have a favorite ice cream store in Portland and Seattle called Salt and Straw. Now, I don't have ice cream very much, like I said, because I don't eat a lot of sugar. But when I do, that's the place I like to go. That's kind of my, you know, luxury treat. But what I like about it is I can actually eat it because it's all vegan. Now, I don't eat vegan. I'm not vegan, but I don't do very well with dairy. Right? I'm very lactose intolerant. It really usually gives me gut aches and makes me feel horrible when I'm done. And most of Salt and Straw's ice cream is either made with coconut milk or coconut cream or oat milk or something that's other than milk, so I can actually eat it. So this is a great alternative. It's not going to mess up my stomach. All right, to that, I'm going to add 3 eggs. Okay, so I've actually got those all ready to go. Now, I know those are hard to find right now. Every time we go to Costco, well, every other time, they're completely out of eggs, which drives me absolutely bonkers. It just is what it is. All right, I'm going to also add 1/4 cup of lemon juice. Now you could squeeze it fresh from a lemon, or you can just, you know, use this, which we use enough of that kind of stuff. I might as well have in the house. Okay, and then last but not least, I'm going to add some lemon zest. Okay, I have a handy dandy zester. about a tablespoon, but of course you don't want too much of the white part. You just want the actual, and of course wash it first, you know. All right. Get that in there. And you definitely want this because this gives it an extra, not just the smell, smells phenomenal, right? But also because it really does give that extra little bit of lemon flavor that you're gonna want in your bread, okay? All right, you just might as well use the rest of it, you know? All right, so now you can actually mix that with a spoon or a spatula. I'm actually just gonna use, or a hand mixer, I'm gonna use a hand mixer today because it's really super fast. Okay, I know it's gonna be a little loud, so I'm gonna get that going here real quick. It's just gonna take a minute. It mixes pretty well. You just wanna make sure it's all incorporated. There we go. Super fast, super fast. Voila. All right. I am gonna really quickly scrape down the sides because I wanna make sure that it's not got any dry mixture on the sides of the bowl. And that's pretty much it, guys. You're gonna throw it in the bread pan and you're gonna bake it for 50 minutes, okay? You want it to still, you don't want it to be solid as a rock. The outside will be stiff, but the inside will be nice and moist, and you guys, it tastes phenomenal. I'm gonna show it to you really quick. But I'm gonna pour this in, I'm gonna throw it in the oven real quick. Super simple, you guys. Again, I don't do complicated, right? Because most of us, well, not everybody knows how to cook. Now, I love to bake, so this is right up my alley. Right? Because it's, I mean, how can you mess up a recipe? Well, I guess you could. But if you follow the instructions, you shouldn't mess up the recipe. Now, you can actually add a little bit of sugar-free frosting if you want to. It really doesn't need it. You could use some of the powdered sugar substitute. I can't remember, Swerve brand. You know, I really don't like too many sugar substitutes in anything. Like I said, it can really mess with my microbiome, and it gives me gut aches, and I don't really. That's not appealing to me at this point in my life. I can tell when my body doesn't like something. So I'm gonna throw this in the oven and let me show you what it's gonna look like. All right, I'm gonna set the timer in just a second here for 50 minutes. Okay, and here's what it's gonna look like. Like I said, I would use a little bit smaller pan so it's a little bit thicker, but it turned out phenomenal. And you guys, it tastes amazing. It tastes like lemon bread. Like I said, the only thing that you might notice is the little bit different texture. But honestly, if you're there for the flavor, and if you really want something that's sweet, but it's a little bit healthier than the garbage that we're all eating from the store, great option. Okay, try it and let me know what you think. You guys, leave me a comment down below. You can also message me directly at Facebook Messenger. Let me know, did you like the recipe? Did you try it? Did you make any changes and it worked really, really well for you? Do you have a recipe you'd like to share? Because honestly, I get my very best ideas from you. Now, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're seeing this on Instagram, or whether you're on YouTube, make sure you get to YouTube. Definitely hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you can see all the new recipes as they come out. It's every Monday night Pacific Standard Time at 7 p.m. I love giving you these ideas because I don't want you to ever get bored with being healthy, because it doesn't have to be, and it can taste great. All right, that's it for now. We'll see you next week. That's Meals with Melissa. It's almond flour, lemon bread. Phenomenal. Have a great week, you guys. Bye now.